welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday morning, so you know it's time for another live edition of The Extra Point. We got Tasha T. Sizzle with what that shirt say there? Let me see a little bit more of that shirt.
Putakana.
All right, what is there? Is there a message in the number 6? Is that like the sixth country or something?
I don't know. I got on the bus and visited some friends in Punta Cana, at which I will not do again.
Be nice.
No, because this driving, it takes you maybe 6 hours on the bus. Because the bus, you have to stop and then get off and get on another bus. That takes about 7.5 hours. So I won't
1 minute in. Might be 1 minute in. Now, see, I was going to say the 6 was for number 6 that y'all going for next week, but we'll get into that.
I don't know what it is. I just saw the shirt and said, "Oh, let me."
What it do, Denise? Shouts out to May James Coffee. Shouts out to ESPN, the SEC Network, all of the things that she's affiliated with. Very proud of her. Shouts out to Wolverine Comics _TX and its CEO, Mr. Michigan Michael Hasso. How's it go today?
What's going on, man? I know we're probably not going to get into it today, but a lot of college stuff happening still. So
yes, and Mike, I'm specifically saving that for a day where we can sink our teeth into it. Plus, I need a little more information to come out on the UT side because I got some really good juice about Florida and the Big Ten and the SEC locking horns like the Avengers Infinity War. We got a lot of college to get to, but today is Tasha's day. All right. Now, Super Bowl 58 is all set.
Are you confused?
You
in the Super Bowl.
The last message I got was you don't need to do no research. And usually when he say I don't need to do no research, I start talking out the side of my neck and we get the FCC on us.
Because we're gonna do our deep dive into the Super Bowl next week as the preamble to the big game. But we're gonna let you get your shine in, and I'm gonna behave.
We the people in order to form a more perfect union. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Oh, somebody paid attention in class. All right, Super Bowl 58 is set. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers on making it to the biggest stage in all of American sports. Now, Tasha, let me come to you first. Now, last month, your Michigan Wolverines ended a 26-year championship drought. Now you're 1 week away from your 49ers possibly doing the same thing. We're going to start the show off with a simple question. Who's got it better than you?
Nobody. Nobody.
All right, keep sweating. Tasha,
on us.
All year long, for 17 weeks plus preseason, we've gone back and forth about our teams and the ups and downs of the season. Tasha, the floor is yours. How did you feel after that epic comeback in the Bay?
I can be upfront and honest with everyone out here. Your girl fell asleep on the game.
Tasha, you could have kept that in the chat.
Simply because I was y'all know my biggest thing is if I get in the bed to watch anything on television, I'm not going to watch the end because I automatically fall asleep. I just felt like it's the 49ers. I can prop myself up in the bed and, I'll watch the game. Even though I was highly frustrated, I said, let me go ahead and give me a little something.
A little halftime flavor.
Halftime came. Your girl closed her eyes just to rest, and when I woke up, it was 3:39, and I actually missed the game. So I saw AM. Yes, AM. So Dominican time. So it was been 1 o'clock Central Time, whatever. So I saw a plethora of messages because I didn't have my glasses on, and I'm like, oh hell, they lost. I said, this ain't nothing but trolling. I'm not even getting ready to read this because I
had my memes ready. I ain't gonna lie.
I was gonna be pissed off had they lost because I was gonna have to go and start cussing people out. So I just grabbed my glasses and I saw the message from my daughter, and it said something like, "Ain't no way y'all came back." And I said, "Ain't no way,"
because he watched the whole game. Thank you, Denise. Ain't no way.
It was like, ain't no way y'all came back from 17 points. And I was like, came back. I still didn't look at the score. I immediately got the remote because the television was still on.
Yeah.
Put it on. That white noise too. Tried to go on Fox and see if it had a re-air. And I'm like, oh my God, I missed NFL Network. Go on the app, see the game. The Chiefs and the Ravens were still playing, but the next game was the fourth. Y'all, I was up from 3:39 to 7 o'clock my time watching football because I had to watch the entire game And I'm sitting there like
I can't believe it.
I could not, and I was up screaming. Like, I mean, I already knew we won, didn't know the fashion, didn't know how. I was literally like in the bed with my hands over my mouth, and I didn't care. I just started screaming. Luckily,
Right.
Gino was already up on the roof because he likes to go upstairs early to smoke his cigars and do whatever. I was screaming, and of him coming, "What's wrong with you?"
Like any good husband would do, hopefully.
So yes, guys, when I say I was over the moon because
Right.
I just see, and I told Paul this a while ago, and some of you already know, Detroit was actually my first team as a child because of my affiliation and my family members to the Midwest. They always rooted for the Lions. So the Lions have always kind of been my team until, like I said, one Jerry Lee Rice got to the 49ers, which is when I switched my fandom. I was 10, 11, 12 years old, just team hopping to whoever was winning like most children do. But so yeah, that's how it went.
Nice. Now, Mike, let me come to you with this because I immediately thought about you when I read this. The 49ers failed to cover as home favorites in their two home playoff games. They were nail biters. No shade, Tasha. The Kansas City Chiefs won as outright road dogs in their last two playoff games. Were you surprised to see Vegas opening line at San Francisco -2, given how both teams got to the big dance?
No, I wasn't surprised. Because the way I pick things and look at games is I don't look at the spread, and I want to see, like, in my mind, if I put these two teams, what is the final score going to be? And I in my mind initially, I do have the 49ers being a better team and being able to show what they have. So I do put them as a little bit of a favorite. Because you also have to think, like, who's more of a home team. Like, okay, well, Vegas is obviously a lot closer to San Francisco.
They're gonna be in the building. Yeah.
So no, I wasn't really surprised at that. I think if anything, it was a better balance. 7.5 is a lot of points in a playoff game. Like, this ain't no regular season game. Like,
Right.
The Lions are going to come out punching. So that was more surprising than anything.
Okay. Are you suffering from Chiefs fatigue as we round into their third Super Bowl appearance in 4 years?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think the whole all America is. They don't want to see the Chiefs win.
Mike said, hell yeah.
Yeah, that just made me look like, wait a minute. Go ahead, Mike, shoot your shot.
No, it's kind of a rock and a hard place because obviously 49ers historically have won a lot. This is their sixth time to potentially win. The Chiefs, Mahomes, you got Mahomes' girlfriend. Nobody wants to see Taylor Swift anymore. They kind of just over it. They're like, man.
Overexposed.
And Mahomes is everywhere on commercials. So it's like, can Kermit stop talking, please?
This is
that's kind of where I'm at. I'm rooting for the 49ers, to be honest. I like the talent. Obviously, y'all have seen my fantasy team, so most of it was 49ers already. I like CMC. I hope that I hope he gets himself a ring because he went from a bad situation to a good situation. So we always like to see that.
All right. Good morning, AP Culture. Now, me and AP, we got down on the text messages in the immediate aftermath of the AFC and NFC championship games because both left us with our mouths wide open. So let's go back to Championship Sunday for a second. There was like more storylines that came out of Championship Sunday than any other week that I can remember just because of the way the games played out. Now, here's my question to you, and we're going to start with you, Tasha. Who had the more devastating loss, Baltimore or Detroit?
Oh. Okay, normally I would say Detroit because let the meme tell it, the whole country was rooting for Detroit, and that was a lie. I would say the Ravens.
Close. You say the Ravens, okay.
Simply because they had the home field advantage. This was supposed to be Lamar's year to get. Now, this is no Lamar slander because I would never allow Lamar slander. This was supposed to. Well, I think this. Okay, let me go back. I think he didn't perform because he was trying to get his RG3 on. And we all know what happened to RG3
Excellent point, Tasha. Keep going. Excellent point.
when he decided he wanted to stay in the pocket. This was the one time when he should have gave a big middle finger to Napoleon and said,
"Show them who you are."
Right, exactly.
Right.
This is the one time when I think Lamar should have done that. I think Lamar got into his own head. And again, we all saw how RG3 ended up. And RG3 was an explosive, powerful player until
Justin Hart just come in. He said, "Did somebody say KC? Because that defense shut that ass down."
No, they did not.
No, they did not. Lamar.
Don't hide, Justin. You fight for your
team. Them gaps are this big. Come on now.
Lamar shut himself down. And as much as I kind of root for the kids, Zay Flowers, and I put this in the chat before anybody else said this. Had he not turned that ball over, had they scored, Baltimore would have won because Kansas City only had 60-something odd offensive yards in the second half at that point. I can't remember what happened after that. I really think that was the changing moment in the game. So when people always say, "Oh, no, they gave him that game." The Ravens actually lost this game. Kansas City won, of course, but Lamar and the Ravens lost this game because he didn't do instinctively what he normally does. I was one of the first people, and I don't even know how many people watched this game in the Georgia Dome, because it wasn't the Mercedes-Benz Dome, when he was at Louisville and he went off. I said then, this boy is going to be a problem in college. Didn't know if it was translate to NFL, but in college, I knew he was going to be a problem.
I think we are doing the Kansas City Chiefs a disservice if we don't give a shout out to Steve Spagnuolo and that defense. The defense had been phenomenal all season long. They had been underrated all season long because, of course, you're going to be overshadowed by Kelsey and by Kermit. But that defense, they had a game plan for Lamar.
I'm not going to give it to the defense. Mike and I said this the week before. Well, I kind of in our group chat, I said the offense ain't played all year. Now they want to show up. That offense did that in that first half. The offense, like people always say, good teams show up when they need to. This is Kansas City's time to show up. That offense did what needed to be done in the first half. Second half, it was awful. The second half, the Ravens lost that game.
Well, their defense was number one. Kansas City's was number two. So I expected a defensive battle. But Justin says, "Good Lord, coming from a Niners fan, the defense plays lights out, and you want to say Lamar lost it, shaking his head."
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be a balance here. I can't. Kansas City, nothing to take away from Kansas City's, because like Tasha said, you still got to finish that game and take advantages where it's given to you. Now that being said, Baltimore had one of the best run games, I guess, all season, and then the second half you run one run play. Like that's unacceptable. Also, you look at the pocket that he was given. He had huge gaps that he could have ran for the first down or 7 yards, 7+ yards. I mean, that's Lamar. So I'm not putting anything on Lamar, though. It's the game plan that he was given. I think as a coaching staff, you have to be able to adjust at halftime and be like, "Hey, this is where we're about to be. Like, be free, be you."
But that's it.
Before you go, Tasha,
just said it, Mike.
To Ray Ladd, another 49er fan. He says,
"You just said it, Mike." Lamar being the caliber of player that he is, he has every opportunity, right, and reason to change a play at the line. He has that right. He didn't do it. And again, this is no Lamar slander, because y'all know I'm always going to root for Lamar. I don't care who he playing. Lamar is my guy. But he could have changed. Look at how old Lyron Rodgers did when he could have changed that play trying to be petty, and they could have been in the Super Bowl instead of Tampa Bay that year.
I personally think, and this is not Lamar slander either, I personally think that Kansas City had him all confused with their game plan. I think that they were mixing up looks pre and post snap. That interception that he threw into the end zone when they had 3 on the table, they baited him into that throw. I think that instinctively, going back to your RG3 point, because I 1,000% agree, and I'm going to even take it a step further. As we enter into Black History Month, Here's why the dual threat quarterback has had little success in the biggest games of the year. Because they get there, and to Mike's point, you forget what got you there. You use your legs. OBJ was on the sidelines in his face talking about run, Negro, run. Because these coverages that they're throwing you, you're holding on to the ball too long. You're taking sacks. Chris Jones don't need but a half a second to get to the blow up the pocket. And they had him befuddled. When in doubt, run. Steve McNair was the closest one to winning the Super Bowl because he ran that whole game. He just tucked it and ran. He was like, "Oh, Dyson ain't open. I'm out of here."
And one of the, I can't remember, one of the sports people from one of the shows I was listening to, that's the first thing they said. They said that was one of his downfalls in Louisville too. He stayed in the pocket too long instead of just tucking in and running.
And to Kansas City's credit, that's something that was on film. That they knew that if they could just fall back and play zone, keep everybody's eyes in front. There's one thing to take off running when you're in man coverage and all the DBs' backs are turned to you. It's another thing when the linebackers are sitting there watching you move, but that's still no excuse. You got to go make a play when there's a play to be made. Mike?
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing with you. I think for me, though, I'm not putting it, I'm not one to put it all on the player. I think the players are there to be a player. I think at some point it has to go to the coaching. And if you knew that one of his weaknesses was X, you got to coach to that, man. You got like a week, you got a couple weeks, like you have the number one seed. Like, come on, man. Right. You got to get ready for the playoffs. It's a different game.
A lot of players, right, to your point.
But I still think it's Lamar being a two-time MVP because he's obviously going to win the MVP this year.
That's true. That's a regular season.
Lamar has the right to change any play that he sees fit, in my opinion. He's earned that.
And once you give the man $250 million, half of it guaranteed, then you can go ahead and just say, Coach, I'm worth more to this franchise than you. Hell, I'll just take off and run anyway. I didn't see nothing open, Coach. What you gonna do?
Right, because let's be honest. It ain't like Harbaugh is putting rings on the fingers of the Baltimore Ravens on a consistent basis.
I'm so glad somebody came up with that because it goes back to what Mike kind of alluded to: coaching. Why would you try to get into a pissing contest with somebody who just drank 5 gallons of water? If you're Lamar Jackson and you're Greg Roman, offensive coordinator in the Baltimore Ravens, why on earth are you throwing the ball 37 times to rushing 16 times? Why would you do that against a quarterback who, to his credit, Patrick Mahomes is one who likes to air it out. They took the air out of the ball in the second half and just played very conservatively. The only real throw they made was to Marquez Valdes-Scantling to ice the game at the end.
And teams have shown
conservative game. Go ahead, Mike.
Teams have shown success against the Chiefs by running the ball. So, why would you not do that?
Yes, that's exactly what they've done. Yes, and I was shocked. The Gus Edwards, his first carry in the first quarter was 15 yards on his first touch. He didn't touch the ball but one time in the second half in a 7-point game. In a 7-point game, you're the Baltimore Ravens. You have the number one rushing offense, not just this year. How many years you want to go back to when Lamar was drafted? Look, I mean, like you got 5 running backs. You signed Dalvin Cook, and you don't run the ball.
Right.
Gross mismanagement of the talent on the team by the Baltimore Ravens coaching staff. And kudos to Kansas City because they capitalized.
Because that's what great teams take advantage of things like that. And they took full advantage.
Just like y'all did against Detroit. Great teams take advantage of other teams' mistakes, and y'all did that against.
It was the same damn thing. It was an AFC put it into the NFC. It's the same damn game. They stopped running the ball.
We like this, Mike.
Man, for real though, you got money. You know I'm a Detroit guy, so I was like, okay, cool. They doing what we told them to do: run the ball. They were Michigan 2.0, running the ball. Second half, they stopped running the ball. You got Montgomery and Gibbs, like 1-2 combo. Like, what are you doing?
We haven't seen a combo like that since I'm gonna say smash and dash with Chris Johnson and the kid from Kansas City when they both had 1,000 yards rushing in the same damn season. Now, Mike, let me come to you because for those who are late in on the extra point, Mike called this team out 2 years ago as a team to be on the rise, a team to be watching, and they've gone according to script. They've gone, and Stacey's like, that's right, my man know what he's talking about. She said, for real, stand by your man, Stacey. Stand by your man. didn't ask you this question, so let's double back and ask you who had the most devastating loss, Baltimore or Detroit?
I would still agree and say Baltimore. They got number one seed. You had this is your year. You've made all these changes to be. I mean, pretty much all America was bought in. They're like, okay, yeah, you the real deal. Like, okay, cool, home field advantage. Like, you're good to go. So that's why I say I would say Detroit's a close second, but I still think that they're still rebuilding. You got to look at what Detroit's done and where they've come from, right? So they haven't had an MVP caliber team yet. Like they have just drafted number one overall in Aiden Hutchinson, so they're building on their defense still. Like they have a lot of room for error. I think they were just a little bit young, and they didn't have any veterans on their team to be like, no, we got to stick to this game plan. As you see on Detroit over there mocking the fans at halftime, like stop playing, man.
Man, that meme will go down in infamy because they was eating that boy up.
Yeah,
he was tartar. If you don't know what tartar means, tartar means raw. He was raw, and they was eating that ass raw.
Oh, pause. Now Ray Land, a 49er fan, says, "Nah, Mike, Detroit was the number one loss. Detroit beat theirself. Now he just walked us into something because we was on the Chitlin circuit on Wednesday. Shouts out to Michigan Mike for throwing a 215. All right, Mike threw a 200 on him. He beat my butt too. I was very upset about that. Now, Mike, you're getting the comments started. Shocker. We had a discussion about old Dan Campbell and some of his play calling in the second half of that game. And you said something that made my wig fly off. I ain't got no hair yet. I don't even know where my hair went. Mike, can you please share this with the people, what you said to me on Wednesday? So we can
so initially everybody was jumping on the play calling of like going for it on fourth down rather than kicking it, and I was one of them. I was like, you know what? Yeah, why would you do that? Like, you got to take those points in that situation.
Right.
And then I got to looking at the numbers and the statistics on it, and I was like, oh, okay, Michigan Mike over here with numbers again. The kicker was actually 45% from that distance. I think it was like 45-yard field goal. He's only 45% from that distance. And Detroit is like one of the top in fourth down conversions at that point. They were running like 85% conversion. So I'm going to go with the coach on this one. Like, I've been giving him praise all last couple of years. Like, I got to stick with them, and I would probably do the same in this situation too. Think about it. If he went for it, that field goal, and didn't get it, and then people are going to come out, why would you go for that? You know he can barely make it, less than 50%. We'd be doing the same thing.
I mean, he
was
that's
just the beauty of us being fans. We're going to bang you one way or the other. Tasha, do you agree with Campbell's coaching decisions in the second half?
I'm going to go back to the Rose Bowl. And remember when Michigan went, and I
told y'all I walked away from the TV on that play. I just heard the crowd screaming and just knew Michigan had did it, and I ran back around the corner.
I was so angry.
I did not watch that play.
I was so angry. I think, okay, everything Mike said, correct. But when you're playing a defense that is like San Francisco, who were balling at that, well, again, me going back and watching, do y'all really think they were going to convert that?
Speaking of Michigan, shots fired. She said not everybody is Moody.
Moody hadn't been Moodying because y'all saw the Niners.
Moody been Moody.
No, he missed a couple of shots, and then it was a little shaky. I was like, now come on, go blue. Now. But
I just missed one.
They don't even know who that is. That's 1,000%.
But I do think that when you're in that situation and you're playing for a chance to go to the Super Bowl, you have to basically risk it all. Like I said, he was channeling his inner Riverboat Ron. Guys, that's Ron Rivera. For you guys who don't know, that's what they call him. He's a gambler. I think you do take a chance in that situation. You have to.
So you're saying to go for it on fourth down in those situations?
I mean, normally, if it's more than a yard, I usually wouldn't say go for it. But I mean, Ray
agrees with you, and we know he watches his football religiously as well. He's saying, yes, I agree. Now, here's my counter to that, just playing Angels advocate, because we don't advocate for the devil on the extra point. Playing Angels advocate, yes, Mike gave us some really good statistical numbers on the kicker and his accuracy from that distance. Also, to Mike's point, I believe going into that game, Detroit was hitting 52% clips on 4th and 2 or shorter, I believe. It was, and then they had gotten like 14 of their last 15. I get the first one. When you're trying to go up 17, he was looking for the knockout punch. I'll give you that one. Like, he's like, hey, let's go win this right here. Like Harbaugh was like, we're not punting and doing no 3 downs and punt it back. I'm going for the win right now, and it worked. And now he's in LA making $15 million a year. Wow. $15 million a year. Go Harbaugh. But on the second one in the fourth quarter, when you have a chance to tie the game and keep it within one score, I think it is gross negligence to not attempt the field goal there, because San Francisco had already snatched the momentum. You're just trying to stop the bleeding. If you can get it to a tie game there, San Francisco goes down and score. You went back down and scored 7, like that 3 points right there. And we saw overtime. Michigan was outplayed in the second half by Alabama by and large, almost 3 and outs. But when they got to overtime, Blake Corum said, hand me that damn ball and get out of my way. Stopped it right there. So that's what I was hoping Detroit would do. Just get it. Just extend the game.
I mean, going back when I did watch it, I think at that point, that second one, he probably could have gone, because the field goal kicker was literally sitting there like, okay, I'm here, dog. I'm here.
The field goal kicker should have pulled the CD Lamb's mama.
Right. Like, and if you don't have faith in me to kick at least one, why am I here? Why am I here, Ike? That's my thing. But again, in that situation, trying to get to the first Super Bowl since the AFL, NFL, CFL,
Night Train Lane,
right? Since Lombardi became the coach at Green Bay, I fully understand him wanting to go for it. You play, you know what they say, you got to play big or go home.
Right. And to Mike, now when Mike dropped the numbers on me about the kicker, because I hadn't gone that in depth with it, and I had a chance between Wednesday and Friday to kind of stew on it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna come up off of it a little bit, because by the numbers, and 14 out of 15, you have 52% clip. That's better than 45%. Anybody can do that math. So, okay, with new information, you can come to a new revelation. So I appreciate Mike for clarifying that. Now, Melanie Taylor, good morning. She says, sorry, I can't fully join today. Handling my Delta business this morning in Memphis. Just wanted to say hi. Hello, and make sure that you go have some wings with John Morant today. He ain't got nothing.
Be careful. Don't end up at 201, Melanie, and trunks up to all her sorors down there.
Now, speaking of Lamar, let's
201 popular. Google it.
You be all right. Don't get our hemmed up down there. You know Memphis is ratchet. Shouts out to Memphis. We have now that Brock Purdy has jumped the line and he's in the Super Bowl, it really puts an even bigger spotlight on 3 quarterbacks, I feel like, that needs a Super Bowl appearance, or else stop talking to me about their elite. All right, this is the elite elimination game right here. Now, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give y'all 3 quarterbacks, and you tell me which one is in the most dire need of a Super Bowl appearance, or we about to throw them in the trash bin like what happened to Romo when he failed to get there. Now, we have Lamar Jackson, we have Josh Allen, and we have Dakota Rain Prescott. Which of these 3 quarterbacks do you feel like are – look at Mike's eyebrow raised. Don't y'all start with me today. Look at
I didn't even know he was on the list.
Right. That's what to read it. Look, y'all, I BS you not. I had to pull up the script he sent because I'm like, wait a minute, who he got on this list?
Yeah, we got Dak, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Who's under the most pressure to get to the Super Bowl? Because all of them came up short this year.
Who you want me to go first?
Anybody in the comments? Somebody, anybody.
I'm gonna go with Josh Allen, and I know everybody's like, oh, because Dak's pressure is coming from a whole different. Well, I don't know, Ray.
He made a Super Bowl. Burrow made a Super Bowl, so we'll excuse him from this conversation. But go ahead about Josh Allen.
So, Dak's pressure is coming from multiple areas, not just the football field. So he's excluded because his owner is putting so much pressure. Owner done threw him under the bus.
We're gonna get to that in just a second. So save that sauce because that's coming up right next.
But it's Josh Allen because you can take out Lamar because Lamar is out here balling. Yes, he hasn't won when it counted, but Lamar is still getting looked at. Lamar is still considered the elite, one of the top 5 quarterbacks you have out there. Yeah. Josh Allen ain't doing nothing. He's, you done got your OC fired. The one they hired, they done replaced him now.
Right.
You're not producing when it counts. They go out, they got you the running back that everyone who watches football knew that you guys needed. You had a running back because Cook got off this year. He took off this year.
He did.
Buffalo has pretty much given you what you needed. Yeah, they gave you Von Miller. Y'all know I'm a Von Miller fan, even though outside of his off-the-field shenanigans that I just don't agree with. That man, basically, they paid him all this money. He had one tackle in the last 4 games or something like that. But
yeah, they said he made $2.3 million a tackle this year. That was Von Miller.
Basically. So Josh Allen they've given you everything you needed. And he's just not out there performing. Again, like I said, we're going to talk about Dak later. Dak has a whole slew of other issues, but right now I'm just going to point it at Josh Allen because I wasn't a Josh Allen fan when he came out of Wyoming. I didn't like some of the stuff that he has said.
I was wondering if that was going to sway you.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the...
We'll let that simmer and they can Google that if they want.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the things that he said, so I didn't like anything he stood for. But when he got on there and he actually started playing, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I became a Josh Allen, not a Josh Allen fan per se, but then, you get Stephon Diggs and then he really starts to shine. So
he's a bad boy. Let's just keep it real. He's Weave McNair, the White Steve.
Right. So at that point, it's Josh Allen.
Okay, Mike. Now she made a compelling argument for Josh Allen. Do you agree, or do you go with Lamar or Dak instead?
I think you could have easily replaced Josh Allen's name and what she said with Dak Prescott.
Okay, go ahead.
Because there's a lot of things that she's like, they gave you this. You said you needed this. They gave you that. And I was like, that's the same as Dak Prescott. They gave you a whole new coach. They switched out the offense. They gave you a defense coordinator. They gave you defensive players. They, I'm kind of like, that's the same thing. My only reason why I'm putting Josh Allen is because I think that he's a better elite quarterback, that he can do it by himself. Mm-hmm. I rewatched that game. You take a look at the Green Bay game and the Chiefs game with the Bills, and Josh Allen, in my opinion, played better than Dak Prescott. And so that's why I think it's more on him to get there.
Played better than Dak in that game, yeah.
So that's why I'm picking Josh Allen, because I think he needs to hurry up, because if you think about it, him and Lamar have been in that number 1 spot to where they're the favorites of the AFC going into it. And so, but Josh Allen is kind of older than Lamar. So I think Lamar still has some time left, but Josh Allen's time is ticking.
Right. And he's been remarkably durable given the physicality in which he plays with. Now I wanted to make sure I got AP Culture's coming in just to kind of double back on the line. She said it's the mindset of the offense at that point. If the field goal kicker missed, the line gets to rest, reset, and come back out being fierce. When they failed, the whole line looked defeated. When they panned to the sideline after that Reynolds drop, you started seeing a little sinking in the shoulders. And then Ayuk went total Pittsburgh. Who's that? Was that Starback? Who's that caught that? Lynn Swan did the Lynn Swan in the Super Bowl catch off the dude's helmet and catches it at the 1 yard line. I was like,
that wasn't the immaculate reception. That was Franco Harris. That's what I'm talking about.
Was that a catch, Oakland fans? All right. Shouts out to Angelo and Stephanie checking in. My brother, he's preparing for a role, y'all. He's not trying to do all of that. Now, Christina says, I love Dak, but it's been too long and no results. Justin agrees with you, Christina. He says Dallas won't do anything until they get a QB with grits. Now, is that with butter and sugar, or is that with salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper, but don't no sugar go on no grits. That's
sugar and butter belong on grits, Mike. How you like your grits?
That is cream of wheat. You put butter and sugar in it.
Mike, break this top.
I agree with Tasha on this one.
What? Y'all see, Texas ain't the real South. This is its own country. In the South, you put butter and sugar in there, around.
That is cream of wheat, and if you were poor like we were, it's farina. You put butter and sugar in that dish.
That farina went hard, especially when you got a little lump.
Salt. You didn't really put salt. You put pepper and butter and maybe a little cheese.
Yeah, I think the sugar and stuff is for the oats. You know.
You ate oats, Mike? Right, butter, baby. Now Denise, my favorite niece. Butter and sugar on grits, unless it's shrimp and grits.
Who raised you?
I can't afford shrimp and grits. Y'all got money around here.
Who the hell raised you? Talking about some sugar.
No, she's in the South. She was down there in Florida. She know how it gets down. And Justin, he's from the Midwest. He said butter. You gotta hook them grits up with that butter. Hey.
Butter and pepper. And
now, let's get to the meat of the story, y'all. Because last week, the Cowboys made a fool out of me because I was getting on Jerry for not talking. Now I'm about to get on Jerry for talking because that's just how the Cowboys do. I'm getting more and more on the side because in the chat I will fire off on these two for getting on Jerry. But now I'm starting to see why they're telling Jerry to shut the hell up. You get my Shut the Hell Up award this week because you asked a question that I don't know if anybody on this whole panel can answer. So I'm coming to y'all with this question. All right. So, as he does, like to hijack somebody's moment, it is Kansas City and San Francisco's 2 weeks to be in the news. But Jerry wants to go find a reporter and a camera and fix his mouth to say, well, the Cowboys are going all in for 2024. My question to you, anybody that's out here listening in the universe, what does that mean for the Cowboys? What does all in mean? And here's why I asked the question. You didn't make any changes to your staff. You brought back Mike McCarthy. He's a lame duck coach on the last year of his deal. You didn't trade Dak because you can't trade Dak. He's coming back on the last year of his deal. You lose Dan Quinn because he goes to coach the Commanders, so the defensive coordinator that got your defense turned around, he's gone. What does all in mean, Tasha? What is he talking about?
Look, not only did he hijack a camera, y'all, right. The man is at the Senior Bowl. Jerry, why'd you at the Senior Bowl?
What? No owners go to the Senior Bowl.
And I thought this, and then, whose show was I listening to? Oh,
he's there for Roman Wilson. That's why.
Hey, I was listening to somebody's show, and when I was at work yesterday, and they said the exact same thing. They said, if I'm a billionaire, the last place I'm going to be is in Mobile at the Senior Bowl.
The man got a yacht. You're like, can you go to Sandro Pay?
I'm going to be on that yacht. Jerry,
shout out to Danny Collins checking in, though. He is absolutely correct. A great man right there.
Butter and
sugar makes everything better.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't know exactly what he means by all in. Didn't you
Help
go
me,
all
Tasha,
in?
because I really don't know. I'm asking. I'm not trolling. Help me.
And then you go out here. You get the defense that you claim you want. You had the defensive coordinator that's supposed to coach. You got your CD Lamb. You got the quarterback that you paid for. Now, again, when I tell people that they didn't need Zeke didn't need to start. Zeke needed to come off the bench, let Pollard start. Jerry, you have everything you need already. So right. By going all in, what else do you want?
Mike, chime in here, help us, because we're stuck right
now. I mean, that's why it was hilarious, because he's over here trolling everybody, because he's like, oh, no, we got all the pieces to win the Super Bowl. It's like, then how come you haven't won the Super Bowl?
Why you ain't won?
What are you doing? And then he says comments like, oh, well, we have the coach to win the Super Bowl.
No, you don't. You have the coach that won a Super Bowl. You can't keep living off of McCarthy's one win in Green Bay. You cannot keep doing that. And at the beginning of the season, the Cowboys defense was top 3 when the season first started.
My blood pressure pill because Mike just really upset me with that.
The defense is the whole season. The defense was here. They slowly started doing this here. And then you got Micah finally making an appearance back on his podcast.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
And he ain't said a bunch of
Skip Bayless while not producing.
Yeah, he trying to come after analysts. Like, come
Right.
on.
Right.
That's their job. I hate when these players come after these analysts and say, "Oh, they never played the game," blah, blah, but that's their job.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like, you wanted me on your show. He's like, well, yeah, that's the part. That's what he's supposed to do. Like,
What else is he supposed to do? Right. Like
And Skip Bayless
Micah,
is a Cowboys fan. That's the thing.
that's
When
one of
you
them hide
have
your hand things. That 3-card Monty. He's trying to
Right.
get the fact that he had no impact in that Green Bay game.
yeah,
When
he was
you have-
defensive, and y'all all know why people get defensive when there's truth being told, and
Yeah.
why he
Dog
felt a
gonna
little
holler. My mama said,
defensive.
hit dog on holler. Go ahead, Tusker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're a fan of a team and you call your team out, then it's the truth. That's not coming from a place of hate. Just like when my teams are bad. If Michigan is bad, I'm going to call them out. If the 49ers are bad, I'm going to call them out. The Pistons, they so bad, I can't even call them out.
Monty, you stealing
Like-
money, bro. You stealing money up there in Motown, bro. You stealing money.
Ooh, he are making it to the bank. Oh, stop.
You and Jawan Howard gonna be in Good Burger 3 if y'all
Right.
don't get it together. Go
But
ahead, Tusker.
that's his job. But again, y'all and Melanie Taylor said this: the Cowboys don't show up when it counts. They just don't. Jerry, you
Stop
have
it, Angelo. Go ahead, Tasha.
Jerry, you have everything that you asked for. You have everything that you wanted. But when it's time to show up, your team did not perform.
Right. Now, and when Mike said it, it really hit me in my spirit and it hurt my feelings when he said, you already had everything. And if you got everything, why did you wet the bed against a 7 seed? You were the only person, the home team to lose in the first round at home.
I mean, but let's just go back to their one missed eligible player call from being in that position anyway, because the Lions, had they, counted that touchdown, the Lions would have been the second seed.
The only difference that would have made would have been if Philly would have came up there and beat them instead of Green Bay. Like it is what it is when it comes to the Cowboys. Now back to Dan Campbell, kick the field goal, go to overtime because you had already walked the Cowboys down. But I'm gonna digress on that. Now, here's something else that kills me about this whole Cowboys versus Dak situation. You said that in your opening salvo, Tasha, you said that he was throwing shade at the quarterback, and Mike, I think you alluded to it as well. He said, and I believe I'm quoting this, so please forgive me if I missed a word or two, but I'm going to paraphrase it as close as I can. He said the Cowboys will go as far as Dak will take us, and you saw how far that was this year. Just shade at your franchise. Stop it, Mike. Don't you even think about laughing. Just shade. He said that sitting on that damn bus down in Mobile. He said that, of course. All of the major sports networks picked that up and ran with it. But here's the situation with Dak. Dak is counting $59 million against the cap in 2024. He's in the last year of his deal. He has a no trade clause, and they cannot franchise tag him. So if this is the quarterback that you don't want, are you going to let him eat up $59 million of your cap and not sign any rookies and not have any free agents on this all-in year? The only way to get cap relief is to extend the man. You think Dak is going to agree to an extension that doesn't benefit him? He's going to want some 5 years, north of $50 million a year, like everybody else in that range. Herbert is getting that money. Dak is going to want that money. So look him. He's laughing because he know the Cowboys is about to go into a downturn.
It's a bad situation. Yeah, it's a bad situation.
Dak has you over a barrel, but you still talking crazy. If I'm Jerry Jones, I'm like, hey, Dak, the best thing since sliced bread. If Dak's sick, I'm sick. I'm sending strippers. I'm sending the cocaine. I'm sending everything in this house. What you need, a back rub? I got the ring bearers. I mean the
You
bearers.
you sending that Michael Oven.
I'm sending Mike over there with his suitcase of foolishness. You need Dak to do you a solid, Jerry. He can hem up your whole franchise this year. And you still throwing shots at him. If I'm Dak and Dak's agent, I'm like, well, we'll just ride this thing out. They ain't going to get nothing for us. I'm not signing nothing. They can't franchise tag me. We're going to do one more year, $59 million cap hit, and then I'm going to walk into free agency where I'll be signed before the draft even starts. So, if you what do you do, Tasha? What do you do, Mike? How do you approach this with Dak?
I mean, we all know Jerry's mouth is reckless, and that girl who he
Reckless.
and the girl who he
Reckless.
forced them kisses on really know the mouth is reckless. But I digress. Allegedly, it was settled out of court.
Did that.
It was settled out of court. Jerry's mouth is reckless, and that's why Mike and I, when you put that post in the group chat, Mike and I were kind of both like, he just needs to sit down and shut up. Like, yeah. I understand, Jerry. You want the limelight, you want the eyes, because now the Cowboys are the most expensive or the richest franchise out of all sports anywhere, including these the soccer teams.
Right.
The Cowboys are worth more than that. Jerry, sit down. Hand the reins over to Steven and Charlotte. Let them run the team. Let them say what because Steven basically said the same thing. He goes back and repeats everything that Jerry says.
Or at least be a stalling partner. You can still pull the strings. Just snatch the microphone.
But that's not Jerry. Yep. Jerry has to be seen, and that is the problem with the Cowboys. His need to be seen. All eyes on me. Like he want to be Tupac so bad. That is their downfall. He's out here. He's speaking on the team. Now, again, I did pick the Cowboys this season to win the NFC East.
Yeah, and thank you for they did.
Because, again, it was me being petty because of the history with the NFC East. But once the Cowboys started playing, I really believed that the Cowboys could do something. But Jerry continues to get out here and put his foot in his mouth. You can't say that about the quarterbacks that you paid, that you let get this plush contract, like you said, can't be franchised, can't be traded. And now you want to sit out here and talk wet about this man? If I was back, I'd throw interceptions every game on purpose. Because
what are you gonna do? Even if you bench me, you're gonna pay me. Even if you bench me, I'm still a free agent. I'm gonna go get my deal from somewhere. He said, "Adjust his sleep number 7."
I mean, it's embarrassing that you're sitting up here, but not once did you say anything about your defense who came up short. You know, but you want to put it on, and it's that's the diva position. Wide receivers and quarterbacks are always going to be the divas. That's the position that gets the most eyes. But that defense also let the Cowboys down.
The answer to this question, Stephanie, is yes. They were the highest scoring team in the league. So the smoke that Dak is getting is because of lack of playoff success, and I get that, but there was plenty of blame to go around. Aaron Jones, the Green Bay Packers running back, looked like the second coming to Jim Brown in that game.
And who knew? They said Aaron Jones was not even, when he injured or wasn't going to play.
Yes, he had a busted up hamstring and ran for 3 touchdowns. And not 3 goal line touchdowns. Carlos Coronado checking in. He says, NFC East are the JV girls. Sorry, that's why they look so good. I can't dispute that if you go and wet the bed in the wild card round. Now, Mike, you can come to the defense of your Eagles if you want to, but as a Cowboys fan and observer, I can't dispute that. As much as I would love to clap back at Carlos right now,
I think for the
go ahead, Mike.
I think for the NFC East this year, a lot of it, I mean, obviously everyone has to deal with injuries. I think they put all their eggs in a basket, and then the playoffs or the end of the season happens and injuries happen. And for the Eagles, I don't think they were ready for that. And they thought, okay, well, when we get our players back, we'll be better. But then obviously that didn't happen. It's more of a mental thing at that point. And then they just gave up. For the Cowboys, they did have some good defensive players, but then they started getting hurt. And then they realized how much that player meant to their whole defense. And I think that's what kind of shocked them. So
right, but hold on, Mike. Here's the thing with that. You lose Trayvon Diggs, to your point, who was an all-pro caliber cornerback. But
the defense was still top rated even without Trayvon.
Right, but to your point, Deron Bland comes in to back him up and leads the league in pick sixes. He was out there taking them back to the house like Dion. At this point, I'm tired, y'all. I'm just tired. I don't have no more smoke. I couldn't even argue with Carlos. I'm not arguing with Stiana right here. Right, Mike. I feel like Rhea right now. Y'all get me out this bassinet. Stiana said, like I said, Jerry is the reason I don't like the Cowboys. Dak should leave and go get him a Super Bowl. I mean that. Last week, I would have argued with her. But after Jerry's comments this week, I will not argue with that. I'm like, dang, man, like Dak, they sunning you, and you had a high-powered offense this year. Jerry thinks he's still a baller from 1972. That goes to Tasha's
when he
point.
was Gerald.
That goes to
Yeah.
Tasha's point. Yeah, he's still trying to kiss on necks with his old self. Let's keep going. All right, Tasha, who's gonna win next weekend? He. Justin, you gotta tune in next week for that.
Justin.
Look at Tasha.
Justin. Now, bro, I done forgave you for that Jimmy Garoppolo debacle when he was out there throwing it with his eyes closed. I done forgave you, bro. Don't make
Speaking of Super Bowls,
Carlos said no fun. I know, Carlos.
Don't make me pull up.
Chuck Taylor, because he's a Cali guy. He got his Chuck Taylors on my throat, and he's applying pressure, and I can't get him up off of me. Carlos, I know that ain't no fun. We've had some epic battles back when we worked at Ambit together in them email chats, like going at each other's teams. But right now, he got me stomped out because Jerry made a fool out of me once again. Every time I defend Jerry on this show, he makes a fool out of me. Tasha and Mike tore me up in the chat this week. They was like, tell him to sit down and shut up in their chat voice. So we're going to keep it PG here. But, he's giving you some pregame love. So that means he's coming for your throat next week. Make sure you tune in because we're going to talk all things Super Bowl. So let's do this because Mike has a hard out at 10. So we want to get to T-Sizzle's top 5. Do you re-sign Dak this offseason? Tasha, yes or no?
I mean,
No, let's reverse that. If you're Dak, do you take an offer from Dallas? Yes or no? To Stiana's point.
I mean,
she says don't do it and walk as a free agent.
I mean, he's gonna do it because right now, Jerry out here talking weird about him. Other teams may not, they may believe Jerry, but they all know Jerry's a kook. So somebody else may want to take a chance on Dak. Like Stiana said, put him in a situation where he'll have more support from his owners and his fans.
Stiana, just say you want him to come to Denver. He could be some Cowboys Denver. They got some nice pieces at wide receiver. Mike, you're a man, the prideful man. You don't let people just talk to you any old kind of way. If you're Dak, do you resign if they offer you a 4-year deal, or do you walk and do a fresh start next summer in 2025?
I say I'm re-signing if you get Derrick Henry.
What? Who? The dodgeball champ. Did y'all see him win the dodgeball game the other day?
Yeah.
CD won it for the NFC, and they were out there being friendly. Come on.
There you go.
Come
See?
on to Dallas,
You don't want, yeah.
No state tax. They got good barbecue. We look at yeah. Now see, the truth comes out. She said, "Yes, we will take him. Give that man a good home out there in Colorado. Show him where all the gummy spots are." And she said, "Cut the line." I know, Steph. We ain't trying to think about King Henry leaving just yet. We got a few more weeks before.
Oh no, he gone.
Now, y'all, it's time for one of my favorite segments of the show. It's the return of T-Sizzle's top 5. Now, for y'all that's going through a football withdrawal this weekend, because I did look on the network of sports channels and there's no football on, and it depressed me. Thank God there's some good college basketball on today, but I'm going to digress. If y'all need a football fix, never fear. T-Sizzle is here with 5 Super Bowls that are worth a rewatch. The floor is yours, Tasha.
Now, the rewatch on some of these is just because it's pure hilarity. Hey, Carter. My double-digit man. Hey, Carter.
What up, Carter Paul Colton?
Now, when Paul always says, oh, you don't have to do research, and for most of you that know on this show, very rarely do I do research. I just get out here and I talk, so I'm usually unprepared. But
Whoa. Before you go into that, she doesn't do research, but she just told me off the top of her head how the 49ers got Jerry Rice 30 years ago in the damn draft. So that didn't require research. That's why I tell her don't research. Just let it come out of her loins. Go ahead.
So when I saw this list, I immediately had games in my mind, but I did have to go this morning when I was talking to you, Paul. That's what I was doing. I had pulled up. Okay, we're going to start with Super Bowl 20. And if you guys don't know, this is before anybody thought anything about the Patriots when they had the helmet with the man down in the 3-point stands. That is the Super Bowl with the Bears and the Patriots.
That was not a Super Bowl. That was a massacre. But keep going.
And again, me being a Detroit Lions fan at that time, switched to being a Bears fan simply because of the Super Bowl shuffle. Shouts out to Big Richard Dent, Big Blue Rod. Hashtag TSU. He was the MVP of that game.
Mike would have loved that, but he wasn't born yet with our old asses.
And the thing is, I do remember the game being so
DN won
lackluster.
the MVP. Go ahead.
But the Patriots only had 7 rushing yards and 7 sacks, and they had 2 quarterbacks in the game. And I don't remember the other quarterback, but I do remember Tony Eason as being one of the quarterbacks. Okay, now let me go to my little list. The next one, shouts out to our RIP to our friend Carlos. Even though they lost this, we're gonna go with Super Bowl 49. The Malcolm Butler interception in the.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Now, I would say it was a very good Super Bowl up until that. Super Bowl. And I put that down. I said that's the dumbest play call in history.
Yeah.
It's not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch and letting him run, and you want to have Russell Wilson throw, and then it was intercepted. Bam, there goes, adding on to Brady's lure of winning Super Bowls.
Tasha, to add to that, speaking of Carlos RIP, we watched that game in Vegas. He was so upset at that loss, he canceled his appointment after the game. Keep going.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
And the next one is, oh my God, the dogs would start barking. Someone is outside, guys.
You have one.
It is 10 o'clock, so that's probably what.
Right, Mike. Now you got a hard out at 10 o'clock. Do you have one?
Okay.
That's
and the next one I have is Super Bowl 32, and I call this the Elway helicopter game.
Okay.
John Elway was not going to be denied. I call that the helicopter game. That's the one. John Elway was determined to win that Super Bowl. Hey! He took the ball, he took it and run it, and he got flipped around literally like a helicopter. And he even said,
they upset the Packers.
And he even said something like, "Oh, I have a 6-inch vertical, but he did what he needed to do to get that, to get that Super Bowl victory because he wanted it because he had been so many times and lost." The next one is Super Bowl 29. That was the Niners and the Chargers. The only reason why that game was special to me is because not the game itself. It's when Steve Young was able to say, "I finally got that monkey off my back." And if at the end of the game, after the game was solidified, they had the cameras on the sideline, and Jerry Rice was basically taking the monkey off of his back because they were saying, hey, you playing behind
Dallas next.
That's why they took the Chargers in that game. And the last but not least, not because of it was just the Super Bowl. I call this the white suit Super Bowl. I put this on here only because that was the first Super Bowl that I ever attended. So it's always going to be special, even though the Titans lost. And y'all, I was literally
that's on my list. Titans Rams.
I was literally because I was there as a guest, so I was on the 20-yard line, which would if it happened on the other end, I would have been looking at it on the screen. It literally happened like right in front of me. I was kind of up, but I was kind of like on the 20-yard line. But it was one of my favorite ones. And one of my favorite renditions of the Star Spangled Banner was sung by Faith Hill at that. Number 1 being Whitney, number 2 being Boyz II Men at the All-Star game in Utah, number 3 being Rascal Flatts. Oh my God, and that NBA. Oh my God, Rascal Flatts.
But I'm right. We
Followed by, I love Rascal Flatts, guys. Followed by Faith Hill's rendition of the national anthem. An honorable mention. We're gonna put the Cowboys on here simply because it's a little bit of trivia. The last time OJ and the Cowboys was in the Super Bowl was 1994. That's the last time OJ Simpson.
Mike, you got 40 seconds before your heart out, Mike. Do you have one that you would like to add? Is there a memorable?
I got the Patriots Falcons when the Patriots came back.
Ooh, 28-3 game.
Yeah, I got the Giants upsetting the Patriots for their undefeated season.
Okay, I got a couple in here. I got the Pittsburgh, Arizona, Larry Fitzgerald versus Santonio Beard. That thing was great. I got San Francisco versus Cincinnati in Miami when they went down and drove it at the last minute. Rice with the 212 yards. I got Philly versus New England, the rematch, when both quarterbacks threw for 500 yards. That was a thrilling game. And I got New England versus Carolina. That was Nipplegate game for Janet. That was a great, great game as well. Mike, who are you shouting out this pre-Super Bowl week?
I got Adrian Beltre, Hall of Famer, going in with as a Texas Ranger. So shout out.
All right. Oh, and Super Bowl 48 because Carter was born before halftime. Mike, we was watching that game together when Carter was born. That's when Seattle put them hands on Denver. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, Tasha, who you shouting out this week?
I ain't got no shout out.
Okay. Well, my son
Jason is outside, who is which is why the dogs are barking. Not my son.
Okay.
My friend Ramona, that's her son. He's my son.
Look, I want to wish my nephew Carter a happy 10th birthday. Hope he had a great day. And Stiana said we bounced back. Shouts out to the 49er fans and the Chiefs fans because enjoy this week, y'all. Enjoy this week. As a Michigan fan, the week leading up to that championship game was magical. All of the interviews, all of the press conferences, all of the articles you read, all of the stuff that's trending on Twitter. The week was just as good as the outcome for me. So enjoy this week, 49ers fans and Chiefs fans. Y'all earned it. Y'all are here. We hope that it's a great game. And, hey, enjoy it. Now, you know we're going to be back in 6 days and 23 hours to give you all things Super Bowl. And for you bettors out there, get ready because Mike is going to have some prop bets, some over and unders for you. He's going to have everything you need to get you some rent money for March, all right? We'll see y'all next week. Until then, go Blue!
Go Blue.
If you want to go to San